I already did.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Judicial Candidate webinar. I'm Dean Xenick, President of the Palm Beach County Bar Association, and I will be moderating our program today. The purpose of our webinar is to provide you with information about the candidates running for the office of circuit and county court judicial seats. Today's format will work like this. Candidates will have 1 minute for their opening introduction, followed by a series of 4 pre-screened questions. Each question will be answered within 45 seconds. At the end of each segment, candidates will have another 1 minute for their closing remarks. I believe Jill Weiss will be our timekeeper, assuming we can get the Zoom operating properly. And I see her there, so I'm hoping we can. And she will be giving you a 15-second warning when your time is up. So in the interest of time, let's get started as soon as we get Jill situated. The first race is for Circuit Court Seat 16, which is incumbent Judge Jeffrey Gillen and Henry Quinn Johnson. I believe they are already on to start video and open your audio. Let's get Jill situated. I see Jill now. Can Judge Gillen and Mr. Johnson, can you both see Jill's video screen?
Yes, I can.
I can as well.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, Jill, we have 1 minute for the opening statement. We'll alphabetical order with Judge Gillen going first.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you to the Palm Beach County Bar Association for allowing me to participate today. Most all of you know me already. Most all of you have appeared in front of me. I've been a circuit judge I'm now in my 8th year as a circuit judge. I've been in 4 different divisions, twice in civil, once in family probate, guardianship, and domestic violence, and now I'm in felony criminal. You know that I have a great deal of experience prior to coming to the bench. I've appeared in all 5 district courts of appeal in Florida, the Florida Supreme Court on a number of occasions for oral arguments. Previous to that, I practiced law out of New York. I appeared in local, state, federal trial and appellate courts all over the country. But again, my most important experience is that as a circuit judge. In the courthouse, I'm in the courthouse around 7 o'clock every morning, have been for all the years that I've been a judge. I intend to continue doing that. I'm always professional, courteous, well prepared, and I rule impartially and expeditiously. I think all of you know that, and I thank you. I can't hear you, Dean. Dean, I can't hear you.
I'm
Dean,
sorry.
your mic.
I made the cardinal rule, no unmuting. Sorry, Judge. Thank you for your time and thank you for concluding. Mr. Johnson, your time starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Henry Quinn Johnson. I'm a candidate for Circuit Court Judge Group 16. I'm a 28-year resident of Florida and a 16-year resident of Palm Beach. I have over 22 years of jury trial and litigation attorney experience. I've served as a Florida Assistant Statewide Prosecutor, an Assistant Florida Attorney General, an Assistant State Attorney, and as a trial attorney. I personally have tried more than 100 jury trials and more than 500 contested non-jury trials. I've also litigated thousands of non-contested jury trials, evidentiary hearings, and other arguments. I have the most jury trial experience of any candidate in this race. I also have litigated in every division of the circuit court to include civil, criminal, family, juvenile, and probate. And I've also litigated and as a criminal and as a prosecutor and criminal defense attorney. And I've handled cases involving, excuse me, well, I guess my time's up. I'll bring it in later, but thank you very much. I can't hear you, Mr. Xenick.
You can finish your sentence. If you're in the middle of a sentence, you can finish that sentence.
Yeah. Well, I'll bring it up later, but just basically, Quinn Johnson, I have the most jury trial experience, and I look forward to the forum. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the first question, and this is going to, again, in alphabetical order, and we're going to flip-flop. This is going to go alphabetically to Judge Gillen. What makes you the best choice for Circuit Seat 16?
Well, I think the thing that makes me the best, or the factor that makes me the best choice, quite simply, is that I have been a judge. I'm in my 8th year as a circuit judge. As I said, I've served in 4 different divisions. I've presided over thousands of hearings, evidentiary hearings, jury trials, non-jury trials, non-evidentiary hearings. I've written hundreds, perhaps even thousands of orders. I've totally lost track. Most of your members have appeared in front of me. They know what I am capable of and what I do every single day, and what I intend to continue to do. The Palm Beach County and the state of Florida deserve to have and keep a judge who has served them for over 7 years, close to 8 years, and has done so in a fine job. If you look at the judicial evaluation forms over the time period that I have been a judge, you will see that every single one of those, on every single one of the 9 categories, indicates that I've done an excellent or satisfactory job. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Johnson, again, what makes you the best choice for Circuit Seat 16?
Well, I have the most jury trial experience. I have over 100 jury trials that I've personally done, over 500 contested non-jury trial experience. But not only that, I have 22 years of litigation experience as a trial attorney, but also during that time, I also served as a judge advocate general in the United States Army. I had the opportunity to serve in Afghanistan as a chief of military justice, where we were responsible for ensuring that there were proper, fair trials in a war zone. And so having that responsibility gives me an opportunity to bring that same level of competence, experience, and ethics to Palm Beach County.
All right, thank you. Next question, and this is directed to Mr. Johnson first. What has been your greatest accomplishment in your legal career?
I would say that just being able to conduct the number of trials that I have, a lot of people do not have that experience, haven't had that opportunity to do that. And I think that, having personally selected jury trials, you get a rapport with the jury, you get an opportunity to talk to people, you get an idea of what they're thinking, what they're experiencing. And I think that that type of experience is very important, to serve as a judge. Also that being able to retire as a judge advocate general out of the United States Army, having served, as a JAG officer, served in 3 different war zones, having been awarded the Legion of Merit and also a Bronze Star for my service. And all of this was going on at the same time as maintaining a law practice and practicing law as a civilian attorney. So I've always been dual-hatted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Judge Gillen, your question. What has been your greatest accomplishment in your legal career?
Hands down, it's easy for me to tell you what that is. It's having been appointed as a circuit judge, having served as a circuit judge for now in my 8th year. I am honored to be able to do that. I have fun doing it. I don't take myself too seriously, but I take the job extremely seriously. And every one of your members who has appeared in front of me, and that's many, many, many of them, know that I do not take myself seriously, but I take the job very, very seriously. I do it well, and that is demonstrated again by those judicial evaluations over the years. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Gillen. And back to you, Judge Gillen, for our 3rd question, which is, who are your judicial role models?
I think perhaps my best judicial role model has been Justice Marshall. When I think about it, I've reread his opinion on a number of, your members know who I'm referring to, the Chief Justice Marshall, who wrote the opinion that separates or gave the judiciary, or established the co-equal branch of the judiciary as a co-equal branch of the government. It was a very bold opinion. It's not the most eloquent I've read, but it's very, very bold and a moving opinion. Aside from that, I have a number of other judicial role models, so to speak. I like very much. I used to like Justice Scalia. He's now deceased, of course, but a number of others as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Gillen. Mr. Johnson, who are your judicial role models?
Well, growing up, I always learned about Thurgood Marshall, and just the fact that, as an attorney, how hard he worked advocating for civil rights, and the work that he put in to discover those cases and to reveal the facts and to get those rulings. The fact that he was able to go on to the Supreme Court and set an example for someone like me, growing up, who didn't really see a lot of attorneys, but saw, that symbol of morality and justice. But I would also say that having practiced here in Palm Beach County, two of the people, they're retired now, Judge Brunson and Judge Oftedal. What I've experienced from them is just their kindness and competence. And with Judge Oftedal, I've had the opportunity to try cases in front of him in criminal court, family court, civil court, and he's always been fair and kind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Back to you, Mr. Johnson, for the final question, which is, why are you running for this seat?
Okay. Well, I'm running because I am uniquely qualified. I have over 100 jury trials, over 500 non-contested non-jury trials. But I'm also, as I stated, dual-hatted. I have the qualification and experience, and that the community is excited that someone of my experience and background is willing to serve. And I think it's important that people like me step up and make ourselves available. I have leadership experience, but also in this group 16, my opponent will not be able to complete a term, a full 6-year term. And so I think it's important that, in a democracy, that that everyone be given an opportunity to participate and the opportunity to serve. And so that's what I want to do. I mean, it's a democracy, and so I just love that we live in a democracy. Someone like me, who's a combat veteran, will be able to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Judge Gillen, why are you running for this seat?
I'm running for this seat because Palm Beach County and the state of Florida deserve to have a public servant such as myself, who has served the state of Florida for 23 years straight, and for Palm Beach County for 20 years. My experience is important. My experience exceeds that of my opponent. He has never, of course, presided over a jury trial. He's never, of course, presided over a non-jury trial. I have presided over countless non-jury trials, jury trials, evidentiary hearings, non-evidentiary hearings, and the like. The bottom line is the state of Florida deserves to keep a public servant such as myself, who has proven to be effective as a circuit judge for the next for my next term. On the matter of being unable to complete my term, that is partially true, in the sense that I will be able to complete 5 years and 2 months of a 6-year term. That is, if you do the math, 86% of the term. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Gillen. So we're going to do, it's time for closing statements. Jill and I are going to call a little bit of an audible. We realized the minute was a little short for the opening, so we're going to give everybody 90 seconds for your closing, so that you can have a little bit more time to express your thoughts. So we'll begin with Mr. Johnson, since we started with Judge Gillen. Mr. Johnson, you have 90 seconds. Please start. Okay,
thank you. As I stated earlier, I personally have the most jury trial experience, having conducted trials, picked juries than anyone in this race. As an attorney, if you don't do jury trials, it may not be as important to you, but for the countless attorneys that do trial work, it's important to have an experienced jury trial judge for the future. I would also point out that if you go to my website, quinnjohnsonforjudge.com, I have numerous endorsements from current and former elected officials. The community is excited about my candidacy because of my qualifications and real-world leadership experience. I think that it's important that that everyone get the opportunity to learn more about me. You can Google me. You can Google my opponent, read the articles that have been written about us in both the Palm Beach Post and the Sun Sentinel over the years. I would point out that it's time for, for us to all reimagine, the judiciary as service to the community, service to people of all walks of life. But most importantly, elections are about the future. We're living in a pandemic. We're living in a time of change. And I ask that anyone who's undecided or silent, to join the winning side of history, join my campaign, QuinnJohnsonForJudge.com, visit my Facebook page, Quinn Johnson for Judge, and let's get ready to win with Quinn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Judge Gillen, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you, Dean. I do agree with one thing that Mr. Johnson said, and that is we live in very, very difficult times. I encourage each and every one of those folks who either are participating in this conference now or will view it later as a recording to check with every lawyer that has appeared in front of me. Every one of them, I am confident, will tell you that they got a fair shake in front of me. I have made sure that every one of them had an opportunity to present their case on behalf of their clients. That is what I intend to continue to do. We do live in a difficult time. 923 new positive cases in Palm Beach County for the virus, over 11% positive rate. We are faced with an unprecedented time in the 15th Judicial Circuit. I am dealing with it every day. I have 5 days a week. I have folks appearing in front of me live, and I have folks appearing in front of me via this very medium, via Zoom. I've been able to efficiently and effectively and impartially and fairly move cases along utilizing that technology and utilizing the ability to have people appear live. I encourage you to check with the highest levels of the state's attorney's office and the very highest levels of the public defender's office. And anybody who practices defense work in front of me, they will all tell you that I am fair, equitable, and just. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Gillen and Mr. Johnson, for your time today. That concludes your portion. If you could please stop your video and mute your audio. You're, of course, welcome to stick around for the remainder of the program. Now we'll move on to Group 30. So I'd like to ask Incumbent Judge Jaimie Goodman, Adam Myron, and Caryn Siperstein to start your video and open your audio. And we're going to, again, start in alphabetical order for opening statements. Let me make sure I've got everybody on. I can see and hear, I think, everybody. So alphabetical order, Incumbent Judge Jaimie Goodman, if you could please start your opening statement. You have 1 minute.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. In August 2014, I was honored to be elected as Circuit Court Judge in Palm Beach County, gaining over close to 55% of the vote against 2 opponents. Since that time, I've served in the Circuit Civil Division, the Probate Division, the Guardianship Division. I presided over numerous jury trials and thousands of hearings. I have extensive jury trial experience, the most by far of any other candidate in this race. I am known to be a hard worker. I get to the courthouse by 7:30 and I leave about 7:30 at night. But more to the point, I also run a very efficient docket based on the data. I have one of the best track records for docket management in the Circuit Civil Division. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Goodman. Next is Adam Myron.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Adam Myron, and I'm running for judge because I care deeply about ensuring public confidence in the justice system. Palm Beach County is where I'm from, it's where I grew up, and it's where I'm raising my own family. I'm dedicated to our community, and I'm dedicated to our profession. I've been practicing law for almost 18 years, primarily in the areas of complex business and commercial litigation, trust and estate litigation, and professional liability law. And I'm a mediator because I love helping people as a neutral and impartial facilitator of conflict resolution. I have the legal skills to be an excellent circuit court judge, but just as important is the temperament I'll bring to the court every day I'm on the bench. After a thorough vetting process, the Sun Sentinel endorsed me in this race. And in their endorsement, they stated that with my opponent on the bench, they felt that confidence in the justice system is lacking. This deeply troubles me because I recognize that most people don't meet a judge until one of the worst days of their life. And I believe that a judge must set a tone of civility in the courtroom for others to mirror. Thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Myron. Caryn Siperstein, you have 1 minute.
Thank you very much for having me today. My name is Caryn Siperstein, and I'm running for Palm Beach County Circuit Court Judge in Group 30. I'm running because I believe that I can make positive change and be the difference that our community deserves. I currently serve our community as an Assistant Attorney General for the state of Florida in the Civil Litigation Bureau. I handle a wide range of matters, including tort litigation, prisoner litigation, constitutional challenges, as well as eminent domain. My experience has a wide range, and I feel that that best serve the community. Prior to that, I was a mediator for Palm Beach County Circuit Court, the 15th Judicial Circuit. I handled family and dependency matters. I worked with a diverse range of individuals of varied socioeconomic backgrounds, and I will continue to be impartial and neutral. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Siperstein. Let's start the question and answer period. We'll start with Ms. Siperstein for this question first. How would you prepare yourself to handle cases involving unfamiliar areas of law?
So I meet that challenge on a regular basis. Working at the Attorney General's office, we are constantly receiving a diverse range of cases and a lot of different areas of law that I may not have been trained in. So the first thing I immediately do is I do legal research and make sure that I'm well versed in the area. I contact other professionals in the field to get their feedback. And I make sure that before I render any decision, I'm listening to all the facts and applying the proper law to those facts. It's very important that everyone have an opportunity to have their day in court and that they feel that justice is served. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Siperstein. Judge Goodman, you're next. How would you prepare yourself to handle cases involving unfamiliar areas of law?
One of the things that when I became a circuit court judge, I started in the Circuit Civil Division. And that's where I had most of my experience. And then a year out, I got moved into the Family, Probate, and Guardianship Division. And what I did was I prepared ahead of time. I researched the case law, and there's no substitute for thorough preparation. And that's exactly what I did. I read every piece of material that I could so that I could make my rulings in an informed basis. In fact, that's really what it's all about. It's about preparation and making sure that you give the litigants a fair shake in the courtroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Goodman. Mr. Myron, you have 45 seconds. How would you prepare yourself to handle cases involving unfamiliar areas of law?
Yeah, there is no substitute for hard work. You have to be willing to put in that work. But also important is that I believe a judge has to sublimate their ego. If you don't know the answer to something, you have to be willing to talk to people about it. You have to be able to research, look things up. You can't just rely on thinking that you're the smartest there in the room. It reminds me of that line from Hamilton. Why do you think you're the smartest in the room? There are going to be, I defy you to find a single judge that's known every area of the law taking the bench. And when you get changed to a different division, you might not know the inner workings of that division. You might not know the law so well. And you have to be able to put in the work, sublimate your ego, and really trust that with hard work and dedication, you can find the answers that you need to complicated problems. And that's how I've handled my entire career, because I have a very diverse workload as an attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Myron. On to our next question. Judge Goodman, this will be for you first. What is your general judicial philosophy?
General judicial philosophy is always be prepared, be fair. When I'm on the bench and I hear oral argument, I ask a lot of questions. of attorneys. And that's because my philosophy at the end of the day is I want to make sure I get it right. And I wake up every day when I go into the courtroom knowing that I'm going to do the right thing every day and going to make sure that every litigant realizes that I am prepared and I'm giving them the best ruling that I possibly can based on the law. That's the philosophy.
Thank you, Judge Goodman. Mr. Myron, you're next. What is your general judicial philosophy? You have 45 seconds.
My general judicial philosophy is that in addition to being willing to put in hard work and be fair to everyone who comes into the courtroom, you have to have, in addition to legal skills, the right temperament, the right demeanor, and compassion and heart as a judge. It doesn't mean you have to be lenient on everyone, but it means that you recognize that everyone comes to you comes into court with an entire life experience behind them, which reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, which is, "Be kind, for everyone is going through a great battle." And to me, that speaks to the fact that most people don't meet a judge until one of the worst days of their life. And you have to recognize that in addition to being skilled and being analytical, you have to really, truly listen to people and give them the sense, the true and accurate sense that when win or lose, they were treated fairly and they had an opportunity to have their case heard.
Thank you, Mr. Myron. Ms. Siperstein, what is your general judicial philosophy? You have 45 seconds.
Thank you. I feel that being fair and impartial are quintessential in a role as the judge. People come before you in the toughest times of their lives, and it's important that they're treated fairly and equally. And if I'm elected as the next Palm Beach County Circuit Court judge, everyone will be welcomed into my courtroom. They'll be greeted with a smile, and they know that I will treat them respectfully, courteously, professionally, and civilly. And I feel that that's very important, because while you, as a judge, must make sure everyone receives equal justice, they also need to be treated appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, and Mr. Myron, you'll be the first up for this. Why do you want to become a judge?
I view this as a calling. You know, I really love being an advocate as an attorney, but I became a mediator a few years ago, and it's such a fit for me to be impartial. And I really like helping people resolve their conflicts as a mediator. This is another way that I'll be able to help with those same goals. Now, as a mediator, I engage in alternative dispute resolution. I think of being a judge as traditional dispute resolution. But for me, it's a calling to the bench to serve my community in a capacity as a neutral and impartial facilitator of conflict resolution. I don't do this for accolades. I don't do this for any sort of prestige. To me, a judge is another human being just like everyone else out there. And so, like I said, for me, it's a true calling. It's something I've wanted to do for a very long time. It's something I look forward to, so I can serve the community in the best way possible and make a positive impact in our community.
Thank you, Mr. Myron. Ms. Siperstein, you're next. Why do you want to become a judge?
So while I do have the benefit of private firm experience handling contracts, real estate matters, I chose to work for the state. I'm a public servant and I have a strong history of public service. I want to continue my service of our community, and I feel that I can make the biggest impact if I'm elected as a Palm Beach County Circuit Court judge. I felt compelled to run in this race because I feel that I can make the difference here, be a positive change. And I think it's very important that everyone understands the role of a judge is to be a public servant. And I want to continue to serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Siperstein. Judge Goodman, I guess the question more pointed for you is, why do you want to keep your seat as a judge?
Thank you. I love being a judge. I wake up every day realizing what a privilege it is to be a judge. I love jury trials. I had significant jury trial experience prior to taking the bench. I love the interaction with our jurors, educating them about our jury system. I love having the opportunity as a judge to meet with our school children, to teach them about our judicial system. Being a judge is all about giving back to the community. I had a very successful career as a lawyer, representing people, also represented corporations. And after doing that for 31 years, I wanted to give back to our community, and being a judge and making sure that all the litigants are treated fairly and realize that they have a judge with significant jury trial experience. Now is not the time for on-the-job training. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Next, our last question actually is, and this is going to be for Judge Goodman first. What makes you the best choice for Circuit Seat Group 30?
Well, that's easy. My jury trial experience. There's no substitute for jury trial experience. I was selected to serve as a faculty member at Florida Judicial College in 2019 and 2020, teaching new circuit court judges circuit civil trial procedure. Further, my jury trial experience far exceeds my opponents. The Florida Bar candidate disclosure statements just came out, and it reveals that one of my opponents, Mr. Myron, has 0 jury trial experience and 3 bench trials. My other opponent, Ms. Siperstein, 2 jury trials and 2 bench trials, and it's unfortunate that that information did not come out prior to the Sun Sentinel interview, for instance. But that is why I am the best candidate for the job. Now is not the time for on-the-job training. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Myron, you're next. What makes you the best choice for Circuit Seat Group 30?
So it's really 3 things in combination. It's my dedication to the community, which is evidenced by my participation, not just for our profession. I served on the Young Lawyers Division, Board of Governors to the Florida Bar. In fact, I was elected to that position by our peers because they trusted me to represent them. I've served on various committees for the Palm Beach County Bar Association, such as the ADR Committee and the Judicial Relations Committee. I also give back to our community. I've gone to no less than a dozen different events where I've been distributing food and supplies to people in need during this crisis. There's my dedication to the community. But the second thing is that I have the legal skills. I think it's just intellectually dishonest to suggest that somebody who's been practicing law for 18 years in complex litigation, civil litigation that next to never goes to trial, doesn't have the right skills to do the day in, day out hard work of a judge. And then most important, there's my demeanor. I really do treat everyone equally and fairly. I would never scream or yell at a litigant. And I trust that the voters will see that come up to election day.
Thank you, Mr. Myron. Ms. Siperstein, what makes you the best choice for Circuit Seat Group 30?
Well, I have a wide range of experience that uniquely qualifies me for the position. I have handled civil litigation, and I've also dealt with criminal litigation. I've dealt with family law, and I just have a wide breadth of experience that I think uniquely qualifies me. I also feel that in this particular race, positive change is needed. And the most important thing is to make sure that the judiciary is representative of our community and that everyone is treated fairly. Now, my background also includes teaching law to high school students. I've also brought the students to the 15th Judicial Circuit mock trial competition. I volunteer extensively in our community, which includes on the education board for the city of Delray Beach. And it's very important that our community comes first, and I will serve you with respect, dignity, and compassion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Siperstein. Now we're going to closing statements, and again, you will have 90 seconds closing statements. So we're going to start with Ms. Siperstein. You have 90 seconds.
Thank you. Well, as I've said, I have a strong history of public service, but the benefit of private practice as well. I volunteer in our community, and I'm very proud for my accomplishments. I'm actually very happy that I've had such a strong interest in the campaign committee's website. We've hit over 90,000 unique visitors. And I ask everybody to tell 10 of their friends and let them know about this race and how important it is for you to vote, because your voice is only heard through your vote. And I ask you to vote Caryn Siperstein. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Siperstein. Next, we have Adam Myron. Mr. Myron, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you. I've heard it said that when you speak between two other people and you're the middle one to go, people don't pay as much attention. But I would ask that everyone really pay attention to what I'm about to say and the question I'm about to pose. This comes down to a simple question for voters. Do you want 6 more years of the same? Or is it time for a change? I believe it's time for a change. Now, I guess during this, Judge Goodman wanted to impugn my record as an attorney. Let me be clear. I have done an enormous amount of work as a litigator over the last 18 years. From the moment a case comes in the door, you are preparing for trial. You are considering jury trial questions, you're considering jury selection issues. You're getting ready for everything that has to happen leading up to a trial. And the simple truth is that in most cases, especially in what I do, complex commercial litigation primarily, do not go to trial. But I have the experience for this job. But again, and I've argued, and it's not just at the trial level, by the way. It's also, I've done a lot of appellate work. I've argued to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. I have extensive experience that prepares me for this position. But again, that's just one part of the equation. It also comes down to the meter. And if elected, I'm going to be cognizant of the enormous trust that the citizens of Palm Beach County will have placed in me to be good and decent and apply the law fairly and equally to everyone. So I'm Adam Myron. I'm asking for your vote on August 18th. If together you want to make a positive difference in our community, you'll find my name between 2 others. So you just have to remember Myron in the middle. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Myron. Judge Goodman, you have 90 seconds.
Again, I appreciate having the time. Again, there's no substitute for jury trial experience. And we're talking facts. The Florida Bar asks these questions of all the candidates because they're important. And they ask each candidate, how many trials have you participated in? And you have to sign that and certify that with your signature. And again, Mr. Myron has 0 jury trial experience. Ms. Siperstein has 2 jury trials. So that's just a fact. And that's the reality of the situation. To the people, as a lawyer, wouldn't you want a judge who has that jury trial experience before coming into the bench? I've been recognized as an individual who works hard, who gets it right. I've taught at Florida Judicial College. My opponents, their whole emphasis throughout this campaign are these Palm Beach County Bar Association polls. And what they don't tell you, and what they don't tell the Sun Sentinel, and they don't tell the people of Palm Beach County, that there were over 7,700 eligible voters. And the number of folks that voted, at least as it relates to me in this popularity poll, were 278 individuals. And while the bar may have
Judge
been
Goodman, your time's up, Judge Goodman.
Okay, I can't finish my sentence. That's okay.
Finish the sentence, but
Thanks. Well, while the bar may have been well-intentioned in having these polls at one time, now it's being used as an improper electoral tool. Thank you very much, Dean.
All right, at this point in time, this race is, our questions are complete regarding Group 30. If you could please stop your video and mute your audio, and I'll call the candidates for seat 12 and that is Judge Debra Moses-Stevens and Jaianna Seaborne. If you could please start your video and open your audio. And we will go with opening statements in alphabetical order. Ms. Seaborne, you have 1 minute.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here today. I am Jaianna Seaborne, and I'm running for County Court Judge Group 12. I am a Florida educated person. I went to the University of West Florida for my for my bachelor's degree. I got my bachelor's in legal administration. I went to St. Thomas University in Miami and received my JD. Prior to me receiving my bachelor's degree, I was enlisted in the United States Air Force, where I served in a medical position capacity. I served for 4.5 years in the United States Air Force. I am currently a criminal defense attorney, as well as I manage my own firm. I do personal injury, family law, and some small claims. I have tried over 71 jury trials, civil and criminal. I am a dedicated public servant. I am well prepared, and I'm knowledgeable in the law, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Ms. Seaborne. Judge Stevens, you have 1 minute.
Good afternoon. My name is Debra Moses-Stevens, and I am your county court judge and have been your county court judge for the last 20 years. I've been assigned to the criminal, civil, and domestic violence divisions. I have been a mentor for new judges. I have been an administrative judge for the criminal division, the domestic violence division, and for the last 13 years for the traffic hearing officer program. I'm currently assigned to the domestic violence division, and I also handle the injunctions that come along with those criminal cases. My philosophy as a judge is that this is a job of service first, and that you have to be fair. You have to treat people with dignity and respect. I've lived in this county for the last 33 years, unlike my opponent, and met my husband here. We have 4 adult children. I'm asking for your vote on August 18th. Thank you.
Both of you were perfectly timed. Thank you for that. We're going to start with our questions now, which is, and this is directed towards incumbent Judge Stevens first. What makes you the best choice for Circuit Seat Group 12?
What makes me the best choice for circuit for County Judge Group 12 is that I have been a judge for 20 years. Having been a judge for 20 years, I have a lot of experience with the criminal court, civil court, as well as the domestic violence court. I have actually spent the time in this community. This is my community. I've been here since I've been in Florida for 33 years, and all of my jobs have been about service. Having been in the public defender's office, it was about service too. And that has been my job for the entire time that I have been a lawyer. I have always served this community, and I believe that I can continue to serve it and treat everyone as they should be treated. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Stevens. And yes, my apologies, it is a county court seat.
All right.
What makes you the best choice for county seat, County Judge Group 12?
What makes me the best choice is that, like my opponent said, she's been on the bench for 20 years, and she has even requested to stay in the domestic battery division for the past 8 years. What makes me the best choice is that, as the Sun Sentinel stated, I am well prepared and I know the law. For the last 7 to 8 years, my opponent has been convicting people of a crime that no longer exists. The law changed in 2012. You can go to the 15th Judicial Circuit and look at the opinions. Judge Stevens' cases have been reversed and remanded for new trials based on the sole fact that she has not kept up with the law, the changes in the law. This job requires that you be prepared and that you are aware of what the law is. And the cases that are on the 15th Judicial Circuit are just the ones that are appealed. We're not even addressing the ones that never got appealed. So every day she is affecting people's lives in a negative way.
Okay, your thumbs up, thank you. Next question, and this goes to Ms. Seaborne first. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night thinking about a case, wishing you had handled something differently? If so, describe the situation.
Of course, I have tried homicide cases, first-degree murder cases. I've tried sexual battery cases. I've tried armed robberies. I've tried personal injury cases. Every single time I prepare for a case, I get involved with my clients. I need to know their story. I need to know where they're from. I do get personally involved with each case. That way I can be a better representative. So yes, I do get emotionally involved, and I constantly try to be the best attorney for my clients so they can get the best results.
Okay, thank you. Stevens, do you ever wake up in the middle of the night thinking about a case, wishing you had handled something differently? If so, please describe the situation.
I think that as a judge, we're always concerned that we handle cases fairly and impartially. And for me, because this is domestic violence, it can be difficult. I will point out that what Ms. Seaborne has said is absolutely not true. People are not being convicted of crimes they did not commit. They were a matter of a correction of a judgment sheet, and all of those people had their judgment sheets corrected. It did not change the crime that they committed or what they were convicted of. So that is absolutely untrue. When I find out that something is bothering me, I simply double down and do more research to make sure that what I'm doing is right. And I make sure I inform the people who come in front of me. The appellate process is there for a reason. And when we do the wrong thing, of course, we need to be corrected. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Stevens. Next question, and this goes back to Judge Stevens. What has been your greatest accomplishment in your legal career?
Well, there have been a lot of great accomplishments in my legal career, and certainly becoming judge has been one of them. But I will point out something that is a little more recent. Because I'm assigned to domestic violence division, oftentimes I have children who are separated from their parents. This can be detrimental to a child, just as it is detrimental if their child sees domestic violence. It used to take us months to get people back with their kids because they had to be investigated by the Department of Children and Families. I have instituted a process that brings that down to 1 week so that we get reports from the Department of Children and Family every single Monday, and we're able to set those kids back with their families when it's appropriate. And that means that keeps those kids from being damaged. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Stevens. Ms. Seaborne, what has been your greatest accomplishment in your legal career?
I believe the greatest accomplishment of my legal career thus far, I tend to educate my clients and my clients' families, not just on the law, but as the procedure and the process as well. So every time I am able to help somebody understand the system a little bit better, that makes me feel like I've accomplished something, because so many people have no interaction with the courts until it's too late or it's a bad situation. So if I can help someone understand what's going on before them or their families get in that situation, I feel like I've achieved a great goal.
Thank you. Okay, on to our next question. How would you utilize technology, and this is to Ms. Seaborne first, sorry. How would you utilize technology and the internet in your division?
Say that again?
Sure, I think I went through that kind of fast. How would you utilize technology and the internet in your division?
In the division?
Yes.
I didn't hear the last part.
Let me say it one more time. I'll say it loud. I've never been told I don't have a loud voice, but let me do it again because we're on Zoom. How would you utilize technology and the internet in your division?
In more divisions. Okay,
In your division. No,
in my
your
division. Okay, especially with what's going on as far as the pandemic, the internet and technology is a great tool. I believe that Zoom hearings, telephonic hearings, all of those help prevent the spread of coronavirus and or COVID-19 because it keeps the personal interaction down. However, it also increases the interaction, like this event right here, where we still have face-to-face without actually being in contact. I believe for certain hearings, this is prime. You don't have to make clients, victims, witnesses, defendants actually come into court, and we can still have contact and still get court business done without, exposing ourselves. So this is a wonderful method. I believe that it should be utilized at a high rate, even when it goes back to normal, if it ever goes back to normal.
Thank you, Ms. Seaborne. Judge Stevens, how would you utilize technology and the internet in your division?
I am currently using the technology in my division. We're using Zoom at the moment. We started out with WebEx. We had a lot of education to go through for that. And I will tell you honestly, sometimes it is difficult to catch up where, let's say, my 20-year-old absolutely knows how to use all of these things. But we've been using Zoom for all of our hearings. This keeps a lot of people out of the courtroom. It means that people who normally were, let's say, in Miami and wanted to appear in court can appear for themselves. They don't have to find substitutes. We are able to use the internet to get up information, Google Earth, to look up different programs right then and there so that we can have information we need that perhaps the attorneys don't have in front of them at the moment. It has been a long but enjoyable process to learn how to use Zoom, and I've become fairly good at it. I'm not saying there aren't some glitches, there always are, but I have enjoyed the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. And that concludes the question and answer period. We're going to do the closing statements now. Judge Stevens, you'll go first, and you have 90 seconds.
Okay. I want to thank you for your time today. My name is Judge Debra Moses Stevens. I am asking for your vote, Group 12, for County Court Judge. I have been a judge for 20 years, but more importantly, I think it's important to understand and read the article from the Sun Sentinel. When they said that she was prepared, it was prepared for the interview. I think there's a little bit of misleading information when she originally spoke, my opponent. But they did endorse me, and I think that's the important part. I've lived in this county for 33 years. I have contributed to this county for 33 years. I came in as an assistant public defender, and I have served as judge. I do all of my community service work with this county, including at the moment, I am the administrative judge for the Riviera Beach Civil Drug Court, and I volunteer my Saturdays to serve there. I have also volunteered with young people in the community, both young men and young women, to teach them basketball. I have been a certified NCAA coach so that I could help them with that. I have been endorsed by Women's Issues Now, the Florida State Lodge of the Fraternal Order of Police, the Palm Beach County Human Rights Council, the Police Benevolent Association, the AFL-CIO of Palm Beach County, and the Treasure Coast, the Sun Sentinel, and the Classroom Teachers Association. These people have endorsed me because they know experience matters and mine is proven. Thank you.
Thank you both for your time today. You feel free to stop your video and mute yourselves.
Might not get a closing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading on the thing. My bad. I'm so sorry. I'm one step ahead. Ms. Seaborne, you have 90 seconds. My apologies.
That's okay. Thank you. I'm Jaianna Seaborne. I'm running for County Court Judge Group 12. What I'm asking is that this is not about renewing a job, but let's look at what's been done, what has been accomplished in these last 20 years. Now, my opponent just stated that there were motions to correct. If you go to Narrasenge versus State of Florida on the 15th Judicial Circuit, you will see that that appellant in that case actually filed a motion to have his sentence corrected, and that trial judge, my opponent, denied it. So he had to appeal it for it to get overturned. Ladies and gentlemen, what I am asking is that I am prepared. When the Sun Sentinel said I was prepared, I do the research. I know the law. I come prepared. I am not going to sit on the bench and be a bully. I am not going to be biased. I am fair, I am just, and I am kind. And I'm asking for your vote on August 18th, 2020. Thank you.
Thank you. You can both now stop your video and mute. I apologize for that earlier.
Thank you, Mr. Xenick.
Thank you.
Thank you both for your time, and all the judges and candidates for their time today. I think everyone will agree that everyone wants everyone to vote. Obviously, voting is very important, so we would ask everyone to go out and vote. This concludes our program. I hope you know your candidates a little better, and we'll go to the polls to vote. Please keep your eye on our website, palmbeachbar.org, for additional programming regarding our Vision 2020 initiative, which is focused on recovery. We're going to be a lot of programming coming out regarding helping you and your practices get back to normal in this crazy time. Thank you again for coming today. I think we're actually done a minute early, and everyone have a great weekend. Thank you.